Today's one of those days, guys. I'm glad I waited a couple of minutes before doing my daily video report because you may have read, seen, or heard earlier today the erroneous, as it turns out, reports that boxing trainer, a legendary boxing trainer, Emanuel Stewart, had died. Well, that came to quite a surprise to his family. Although Stewart has been sick here for a while, apparently, they issued a statement that he was very much alive and to leave them alone. So, naturally, a lot of news organizations were retracting their stories minutes later, looking like fools because they had egg on their face. But this isn't the first celebrity person in the media that has been declared dead erroneously here in the past year. It seems like every month there's somebody new. But it got me thinking, and we'll get to football, and we'll get to Thursday's action, and we'll get your money-saving discount coupon code as well in just a moment. I covered boxing for a number of years. For my money, and I had money on this fight as well, okay? For my money, I still think the best fight that I have ever seen, and I saw a lot of great fights, the best fight I ever saw, April 15th, 1985, Hagler-Hearns. 3 rounds of just incredible action. The first round in that fight was perhaps one of the best rounds I have ever seen because it was so unexpected. Hagler, for his entire career, always came out slow. Always liked to just kind of stalk his foe, looking to load up. Didn't really come out and look to have a brawl. Well, I mean, Hagler charged Hearns. He made it into a street fight right off the bat. And then Hearns tagged him repeatedly and cut open above his nose, above his brow. And then it just went from there. And I just think that those about 8.5 minutes, because it was stopped in the 3rd round, without a doubt the best 3 rounds of boxing I have ever seen. I was covering the fight. Back in those days, we're talking 1985, there was no internet, there were no cell phones. So back in those days, you used to cover fights, and you used to have to, literally, I'd be on the phone, calling back to the home network, and somebody would be there typing as I would be giving them round by round. You know, that first round was so crazy. They couldn't keep up typing with as fast as I was speaking. You know how fast I speak, guys, right? You watch these video reports. So I'm catching my breath here in between rounds, just like the fighters going, it just can't continue like this. Oh, yes, it did continue like this. But just a phenomenal fight, and I thought about it today. For my money, personally, Angelo Dundee was always, to me, the best boxing trainer that I had ever seen. I can't vouch for what happened in the 30s, 40s, 50s, or even most of the 60s, guys. I wasn't there, okay, or wasn't old enough. But Stewart's right up there. Kronk Jim, when you think of Milton McCrory, Tommy Hearns, Hilmer Kenty, I mean, some of the great fighters that came out here, and he's such a pleasure to listen to when he does HBO commentary as well. But Stewart is right up there in the top echelon. The only reason I say Angelo was a little higher is because, of course, he was the trainer of my all-time favorite athlete, any sport, Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay in the early years. I mean, and also as an interview, it's like you'd say to Angelo Dundee, you'd say, you know, hi, how's the weather? And he'd talk for 17 minutes, you know, and you get a boxing lesson, and you get a history lesson as well. Hey, Angelo, what happened? And really, you know, what were your thoughts there, you know, when all the frenzy and the Ali Liston, or the Clay Liston fight, and, you know, 17 more minutes. He was just that type of interview subject. But anyway, I thought about the Hearns-Hagler fight, and if you've never seen it, and I bet you a lot of you haven't, I put a link here for a YouTube video of it, and somebody had it. It's the complete fight. Spend 9-10 minutes. Watch that fight. I know this current generation, you're all into the MMA, the UFC, the ABCs, the MICKEYs, you know, whatever. It's all, I had no time for it. I don't follow any of that mixed martial arts crap, UFC, the cage fighting. I can see why it's so popular, however. The fighters fight on a consistent monthly basis practically. It's end-to-end action, round-to-round action. You don't have that anymore in boxing. The problem with boxing is, well, look at Mayweather and Chavez. That's the problem with boxing. You can't have good fights because guys just want to fight once every 8 to 9 months. Then they finally have the mega fight when usually they're both over the hill. That is the problem with boxing. The other problem with boxing nowadays is that you haven't had a legitimate, sorry Klitschko, but you haven't had a legitimate marquee mainstream heavyweight champion in how long? Exactly. If you want to say Lennox Lewis was that guy, God bless you. I don't really think so. But, you know, the era of the heavyweights was in the 80s and 90s. I mean, especially in the 80s and even in the 70s. The other problem with mainstream boxing is you know, the sport built itself by constant TV exposure. You know, as a kid, I could easily turn on, you know, see on ABC every Saturday or Sunday, there was a fight of one type or another. But with pay-per-view and all the buys, you can see why it's such a money thing. You know, so-and-so got 1 million buys for this fight, etc. You just don't have the widespread access anymore. That's the problem with boxing. But again, take a look at the fight. Especially watch the knockdown punch. Now, I'm covering the fight, okay? Middle of the third round. Who was it? Richard Perez. God, I can't even remember now. It's so long, but you'll see it. The ref goes and he stops the fight momentarily and sends Hagler over to the corner because Hagler, even though they had a great job patching him up in between rounds, he was starting to bleed again. And the guy next to me who bet on the fight with me as well, we both had Hagler in the fight. I said to him, Hagler's got to end it now because he is not going to be taken out because of this cut and because of the blood, because Hearns opened up that wound in the first round in the opening minute of the fight. So Hagler starts stalking him again. And the irony here is that Stewart, in between round 2 and 3, you can hear him in the corner telling him, telling Hearns, don't stand in front of him. Side to side, box. I mean, you know, the irony here is that Hearns had one of the softest chins in boxing during that era. I mean, but the punishment that he took before he finally went down and the shot that took him down really was more of like momentum. You'll see, Hearns is backpedaling. Hagler is going after him a little bit off balance, and it's a looping overhand right that comes down, right like there. And you'll see Hearns, boom. And watch the end of the fight. Watch when Hearns is on the ground. You talk about the cliche, as you say, oh, they had to carry him to the stool. They had to carry Tommy Hearns to the stool that night, guys. So, it's a great fight. YouTube link is right below. I'm glad that Emmanuel Stewart is okay. God bless him and his family. FYI, your coupon code will come up here in just a moment. I'm going to talk about the Wake Forest-Clemson game and get a free pick on the Tigers and the Giants. Am I worried that the Giants won last night? No. What, Sandoval going to become the next Reggie Jackson? I don't think so. Let's talk a little football here. Anthony Redd. Excuse me, guys. I get all choked up talking about Anthony Redd. He's going for football winner number 11 out of 13 today, and it's another 80-dime play, his second biggest play of the NFL season. 80-dime, I'm sorry, it's the second time this season he has had an 80-dime NFL release. The first one was the Lions on Monday night. I can't even talk about that Lions-Bears game. Makes me sick. But hey, look, everybody wins, everybody loses. It's a 50-50 proposition, and he happened to be on the right side of the backdoor cover by the Lions and the touchdown pass with 30 seconds to go. That was an 80-dime winner. He has an 80-dime winner tonight on the Bucs and Vikings. Not only is it football winner number 11 out of 13, but more importantly, it's Thursday night winner number 7 out of 10. And I say more importantly because the bottom line here, guys, over the last decade, when you have had all these influx and increase of weeknight games, man, you gotta win these Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night games because you win these, you're playing with your man's money come the weekend. He's going for Thursday night winner number 7 out of 10, football winner number 11 out of 13. The other guy I want to talk about is Jeff Benton. 50-dime college football winner number 7 out of 9, Clemson, Wake Forest. Twice as long. Matter of fact, almost twice as big as his 30-dime winners on the Lions on Monday and Arkansas State on Tuesday, and $10 bettors have won $2,550 over the past 27 days following his advice. So another big play from Jeff Benton here tonight in college football. Again, 50-dime winner number 7 out of 9. Also might want to check out Chris Jordan for his third straight football winner. It's a 600-star play, which matches his third biggest play of the NFL season on the Buccaneers-Vikings. And Matt Rivers has won 22 of the last 35 days. He has a 300,000-star play tonight on Tampa Bay and Minnesota, which is bigger than his winners on the Giants, his $1.50 dog last night, and Arkansas State as a road dog outright over UL Lafayette on Tuesday. Your money-saving discount coupon code, guys, today will be 12BOXING, 12BOXING, 12BOXING. That'll save you $12 off a single purchase today. 12BOXING. That will do it. Okay, let's talk about baseball first of all. I'm going to take the Tigers tonight. You know, I have the Tigers in the series. I'm going to come right back and take the Tigers tonight. Did I think they'd win both of the first 2 games? No. Did I think they'd win one of the 2 games and sneak off with home field advantage? Yes. And I like it tonight. I like the fact that Doug Fister is going. I told you at the beginning of the postseason, when I took the Tigers in the ALDS against the A's, Excuse me, guys. I'm not going to redo this report, so you just have to bear with me. I thought the Pfister was going to be the key to the success to the Tigers in the postseason, because he was the bridge between the rest of the fireballers in the rotation. 1.35 earned run average in 2 postseason starts. The Tigers have won 13 of his last 18 trips to the mound. Remember last year, he was such a revelation when they acquired him late in the season from Seattle. This season, early in the year, he struggled in and out of the lineup and on and off the DL because of injuries, but he's back, he's healthy, and he's going against Madison Bumgarner tonight. Bumgarner hasn't showed me anything since the middle of August. He has a 6.85 earned run average in his last 9 starts. In the postseason, he's had 2 starts. He's lost them both. He's worked a total of 8 innings in those 2 starts, and his earned run average in those 2 outings, 11.25. I say the Tigers win tonight. Now, let's talk about this Wake Forest-Clemson game. It's a tough game. I had a big 15-dime play on Clemson this past Saturday, and they hammered Virginia Tech for the 3rd straight time in the past 2 seasons. And that was their 3rd straight win as well, all of which they've scored over 30 points since blowing the big second-half lead and losing at Florida State for their only loss of the season. I mean, it's conceivable that Clemson could easily run the table here the rest of the schedule, looking at who they have left. As for Wake Forest, listen, this team 2 weeks ago lost to Maryland, but keep in mind they had 6 players suspended and their top wide receiver was out for that contest. Well, last week they came up with a win at Virginia. It was a 16-10 win, but keep in mind they set a low in terms of total yards in that contest, their lowest total in a victory in ACC play going back to 1966. They just couldn't get anything going offensively in that game. They were really helped tremendously by Virginia committing 3 turnovers in the contest. Interesting that Jim Grobe also in that contest went and diversified his offense, installed some wildcat plays, had a lot of direct snaps to the running backs, ran some options. So it was really something for a team that has a pretty good quarterback but has been unable to move the ball here. I think Wake Forest might be the play here tonight, getting the 13.5 points at home, because last year Wake Forest gave Clemson all it could handle in Death Valley. It was a 31-28 victory by the Tigers, but they were a 16.5 point favorite. They found themselves down by 14 points in the second half in that contest. They needed a game-winning field goal in the last second to win that game. Why I think Wake Forest might be the play is not only the fact that the Demon Deacons are in revenge, not only the fact that they've covered 18 of their last 27 as a dog, not only the fact that they've covered 7 of the last 10 in the series, but Clemson is due a letdown. A couple weeks back, I had them when they were playing Georgia Tech. That was a big revenge game. Virginia Tech brought out the best of them here. This could ultimately be the letdown spot for Clemson. That's why I think Wake Forest is the play here tonight. Again, it's not an official free play. I like the Tigers more than them, but I wanted to give you my thoughts on the contest anyway. Good luck, guys, and I will catch you again on Friday.